up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here with Marty Music, and we've got Riff Theory for Everlong by the Foo Fighters. So once again, this is another episode of Riff Theory, where we take a classic riff, that you really know well in your head, but then learn a little music lesson around it. So if you want a full tutorial on Everlong, I have one here at the Marty Music YouTube channel, because this video, we're just going to do a little music lesson behind the Everlong riff, that main riff. And ultimately, the main riff are chords. So also, huge shout out to Boss for sponsoring this Riff Theory episode today. And they've made a killer patch for the Boss Katana that's based on the sound of this tune. So check out the link down there, and thank you to Boss for hooking that up. So let's just talk about what those chords are, because I see them in other drop D tunings. They're kind of like the drop D secret weapon chord. So drop D tuning. So all that means is you're just dropping your E string down a whole step, right? And so the first chord, quite interesting. Real easy to play, but sounds interesting. So it's one of those chords that discover probably by accident when you're just messing around with the basic shape. But I can tell you what that is. It's got an open D as the root. And then right here, that F sharp, that note right there, that's a major third of D. So now we have some type of D major chord. That note, that's a C sharp. That's called the major 7 of D. You would get that in a classic, under the bridge type of chord, But instead, because of the drop tuning, we're able to play a kind of interesting D major 7 chord with that low drone. Major third, major 7. And then now we have this E note right here on top. And so that's a whole step up from the root, but also another octave up. So that's called the 9. Actually, John Mayer uses this chord a lot instead of a major chord. It's got just, more colors. But literally, by making a very simple shape here, you're playing a D major 9, which means a root, a major third, a perfect fifth if you need it, if you can find it in there, which would be an A note. But the fifth is what the chord needs the least when it comes to major and minor. So for this, you'd have root, major third, major 7, and 9. I could put that A on top. But, we already got a lot of notes in that chord. And so what's clever is you take that exact same voicing and just change the bass note. And because of this tuning, the drop D, that's a B note. So if I just took the same notes that we were talking about, but had B in the bass instead of D in the bass, you're left with a B note, and then that F sharp. And so just these two notes makes it a B5, like a power chord. So major 9, first two notes are a B5. But what happens when we have a C sharp in there? Well, that's the 9 of B. So far, we have a 5 chord with the 9. All right, so when we're covering this here, we basically get the type of chords we get in those classic Police chords is what we end up with the second chord. And once again, because of drop D tuning, it's really easy to play, but we could call it B5 add 9. I mean, I suppose someone could correct me and say it's a B suspended 2 because there's no third in the chord. It's just root, 5th, 9. And then if you did get that E in there as well, that's the 4. So it's still a really interesting suspended chord. But I think of it as the Police chord, the message in a bottle chord. And so when you get the 5 with the 9 on top, you hear that in a lot of hard alternative rock. So basically a power chord with the 9 on top. So we have a fancy D major 9 chord, 5 add 9, and these are all going to be 5 add 9s now. So let's just go to the next chord. So that, because of the tuning, normally we think of that as A, but it's tuned down. So it's a G5 with that 9 on top there. So a 1 chord is D, and the B is a 6 chord, and then the 4 chord is G. So if I just went and just played those open chords without the tuning, D major 7, B minor, G, B minor. So if it became a country song, y'all come Everlong now, you hear? All right, so that was another episode of Riff Theory, Everlong, some interesting chords. That's a category of chords that are much easier to play than they are to name. They're fancier sounding than they are to actually play with your fingers. And those are our favorites, right? Anyway, if there's any classic riffs you'd like to see me cover, let me know in the comments below. Appreciate your support. Would love for you to subscribe to the channel. Description box down there has got all kinds of links to help you learn guitar better and faster. Appreciate you guys. Hope to see you again.